Shalawam, Barakyam, Yahawashi. This lesson is going to be on the circumcision of the heart or the mind. So this is Jeremiah 9:26. It says, Egypt and Judah and Edom are the children. No, Salakah. I'm going to start over. Jeremiah 9:26. Egypt and Judah and Edom and the children of Ammon and Moab and all that are in the uttermost corners that dwell in the wilderness, for all these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart. So what does that mean, to be uncircumcised in the heart? What does it mean that the nation of Israel was uncircumcised in the heart? So I'm going to start with Deuteronomy 10th chapter, starting at verse 12. It says, And now Israel, what doth the Lord thy power require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy power, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of the heavens is the Lord's thy power, the earth also with all therein is. Only the Lord has delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. So, to circumcise your heart means to focus your mind on Yahawashi by doing what? Obeying and following the law, statutes, and commandments. All right, and it's going to break it down further in the New Testament. This is Romans 2, starting at verse 25. It says, For circumcision verily profiteth if thou keep the law. So, for circumcision, verily, another word for verily is truly. Truly profiteth if thou keep the law. So if you circumcise, it only profits you if you keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. So if you physically circumcise someone, you can't make someone uncircumcised. It's talking about circumcision of the heart. If you break the law, you are made uncircumcised. It says, verse 26, Therefore if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? Right, because he's keeping the law. And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision dost transgress the law? For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh, but he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of the Most High. So, this is talking about how circumcision is of the heart. And in Deuteronomy 10th chapter, it tells you that circumcision of the heart is what? Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. So I'm going to end it with this scripture that brings it all together and makes it more clear. And the question goes back to Jeremiah the 9th chapter, verse 26. I'm going to read it again. It says, Egypt and Judah and Edom and the children of Ammon and Moab and all that are in the uttermost corners that dwell in the wilderness, for these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart. So what does it mean to be uncircumcised in the heart? Answer with the scripture, 1 Corinthians 7:19. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of Yahawah. So, to be uncircumcised in the heart, it means that you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and focusing all your mind on Yahawashi and your side. And to be circumcised in the heart is to be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and be focusing all your heart and mind on Yahawashi. Other one Ratazah, this was edifying. Kal Halalyam la Yahawah Shanya kabawd Zaqanyam shal Yasharahla. Dawada to the apostles and elders of Israel. And Barakyam wa Shalawam la Barakyam, or Barakyam wa Shalawam la Sakah Dawada. Peace and blessings to the elect, or peace and blessings to the house of David. Shalawam.